Hey everybody, it's Sean here bringing you another how-to video. Today we are going to be removing and reinstalling the rear wheel on a Honda CRF-E2 electric dirt bike. This also applies to the Greenger G2, which is more or less the same exact bike as the Honda CRF-E2. So first off, let's take a look at what we need to remove this rear wheel. We're gonna need some sort of stand or a 5-gallon bucket, something just to be able to get the bike up a little higher and so we can get that rear wheel off the ground to remove it. I've also got two 3/8 drive ratchets here with a 17mm socket and a 19mm socket. And then some optional things, some shop towels, of course, always good to clean things up. I've got some multi-vehicle grease. I've got a torque wrench and a mallet if you'd like to help remove the rear axle. And then just in case you do need to adjust the chain in this process, it might help to have a small flat blade screwdriver, and definitely would need two 13mm wrenches to be able to adjust that chain. Before we get the bike up on the center stand, it's always nice to break this nut loose. So we're first gonna pop this cap off, and then we're gonna loosen up this axle nut. You can see it's already loose. I went ahead and knocked that out. But do that while the bike is on the ground so that the rear wheel has weight on it. It'll be a lot easier to break that axle nut loose. This is the 19mm side, and over here is the 17mm side. So now that I've done that, I'll go ahead and get the bike off the ground and I'll put it on the center stand. Okay, now the bike's off the ground. Let's go ahead and remove this axle nut. Okay, now that the axle nut has been removed, you should be able to kind of spin the axle like this, and you should be able to pull it completely out of the bike. Now, if that is giving you a hard time, you can use a rubber mallet like this and just very gently tap that axle through. But I found that most of the time, you should be able to pull it out like that. And you can see the chain adjusters may slide off the side. That's perfectly fine. Okay, you can see I've got the rear axle about fully pulled away from the bike. But one thing I just thought it would be kind of a helpful tip is make sure the bike is well balanced and actually have more of the weight on the back side of the bike, on your stand or on your bucket, whatever you're using. That way, when you pull that rear wheel off, it doesn't fly forward, right? You want it to be balanced when you remove that rear wheel. Okay, now that you see we've got the rear axle removed, we're gonna go, and this is kind of the tricky part. We're gonna push the wheel and tire forward. And as you can see, this brake caliper bracket is kind of floating here, and it's basically used as the spacer between the wheel and the swing arm on this side. And what we need to do next, the reason we're pushing this rear tire forward, is so that we can get enough chain slack to pull it off of the rear sprocket. And you can see that I was able to get the chain off the rear sprocket. It did take a little bit of work, again, kind of shimmying that rear wheel forward and then even angling it a little bit to take the tension off the chain, enough for me to slip it off the rear sprocket. And you can just kind of set it over there on the swing arm, just get it all the way out of the way. And if you feel like it's really giving you a hard time, this shark fin here, which is just kind of used as a guide, a chain guide and a protector to prevent kids from getting caught into the chain and the sprocket there. You can always take that off if you feel like you're binding here. Mine had enough slack to get off, but it might give you a little more room to work with if you use probably a 5 or 6 mil Allen head to remove those two bolts. Okay, now back behind the wheel. You can see we've got our rear rotor that is right there in that gap between the pads and the caliper. We're gonna slide that rotor out from the caliper, and we should be able to remove our rear wheel. Okay, so I've got the rear wheel removed. Here's the spacer that was on the left-hand side of the bike. And there's gonna be another one here on that side of the bike. You can remove those and you should be able to pull the rear wheel right from the bike. And always a good idea here to take a peek, check out your sprockets, check out your rear rotor. Wouldn't be a bad idea to maybe take a peek at the chain too. But now, if you have the ability, you can replace that rear tire yourself. I absolutely recommend replacing the tube at the same time, just as a best practice. Anytime you're replacing a tire on a dirt bike like this, not a bad idea to replace the tube. I'll say this, on these smaller bikes, I don't enjoy replacing tires myself. It's kind of a pain. I don't have a lot of equipment to do it. So I plan on taking these to a shop, but a lot of shops, local shops especially, they won't charge you too much just to swap the tire and tube out for you. And if you take the wheels off yourself, you can save some money in the process. Now that we have all our axle parts out, I would recommend going through. You can see mine were pretty filthy. I've gone and cleaned those all up using some shop towels. You can use some parts cleaner if you'd like, but a shop towel and a little elbow grease will go a long way. You can see they're nice and clean. And I'm also going to use some grease. I've got some Valvoline multi-vehicle grease here that I'm going to put a nice thin film over this rear axle just to help lubricate that as the wheel spins. Now I want to give you a quick comparison of the stock Kenda Millville rear tire. This is a 60-100-12 rear tire. I've decided to go with a much more aggressive, more of an MX or motocross style rear tire with a lot more aggressive tread, and I went a slightly larger size, actually an 80-100-12 here on the rear. And I'll give you a little bit of a comparison here of both the tread and the width of that rear tire. Now, being mounted, it, of course, is always going to look a little bigger, but you can definitely see the tread is much more aggressive, and you can see the additional width here. And this is about as big as you'll want to go to still be able to fit in the swing arm, but give you a little extra contact patch if you need the extra grip. Now with the rear axle greased, I've got it kind of suspended there. You can see just barely balancing inside the swing arm. And the goal here first is to slide the wheel forward, and we're gonna try to get it to sit on that, get it far enough forward to slip the chain back onto the sprocket. That'll help keep it up and keep it in the right spot. You may need to use your feet or something like that to wedge underneath the wheel and tire as well to help you keep it propped up. This is definitely a two-handed job, and could even help to have a second set of hands if you've got a friend or buddy to help out. But first we're gonna get this sprocket back on to, or excuse me, the chain back on the sprocket, and then we're going to try to get the rotor slipped in between those pads. Could help to use a little flat blade screwdriver to pry those pads apart if you need to, or if maybe you installed a new rear rotor or perhaps new pads, you may need to split them apart to get that rotor to slide in. But again, the goal here is to get the rear axle through and get this rear wheel remounted. Again, I want to show you the long spacer goes on this side. If you need help, you can always use a little dab of grease there to help hold your spacers in place if they're not captive like these aren't from the factory. And then you've got your shorter spacer for this side over here. And that's because, again, our rear caliper bracket is also used as part of the spacer here. Okay, I know you see the finished product here. It is tricky, so take your time with it, be patient, give yourself some grace. As you can see, I finally have this rear axle all the way through. I've hand threaded the axle nut there, but again, how I did it is started with the chain side. Once I got that on, make sure you have the longer spacer here on the left-hand side of the bike and get that in place. If you need to, it may help actually to fully remove the brake caliper and the bracket out of the way as you get the left side ironed out. Then once you're ready, simply slide the brake caliper over the rotor, make sure that you're right between the pads, and then get this smaller spacer in place, line it up with the rear brake caliper mount, and then you can start to work that rear axle in. And once you've got it in, you can hand thread the rear axle nut. Now you have the rear axle nut on there. You can snug that up a little further, but it would be a good time to check your chain tension. You don't want it too loose, too tight. If you still have the factory label, it'll give you some advice there. But if you need to, you can use these adjusters here, and that's where your two 13mm wrenches will come in handy. There are some tick marks at the top. You want both sides to be even, so if you do need to adjust your chain, make sure that you're working on both sides of the bike. You want that chain to be flowing freely forward. You don't want it to be sideways one way or another, otherwise it'll bind up. But if you are ready to go and you feel like your chain tension's in a good spot, we can remove the bike now from the center stand and get that rear axle torqued. As you can see, I've got the bike off the center stand. I'm gonna just snug up this rear axle, and we're gonna use our 17mm to hold the axle bolt as we tighten up the rear axle nut side. I'm gonna torque this to 40 pound-feet, and I think that should be plenty on a smaller chassis like this to keep it snugged up. It is a lock nut as well, which helps, but of course the last thing you want is a rear axle nut coming loose on you. So 40 pound-feet should do the trick without over torquing it. And the last thing I'd recommend is just grab some of your rear brake here and pump that guy up. Make sure that you don't have air in the lines or anything like that. You want to make sure that your rear brake is grabbing on that rear rotor. And once you've done that, you're ready to rock. Hopefully this video was able to help you out. If you don't mind, please like and subscribe, and I'll keep more of these how-to videos coming. Thanks everybody. God bless.